In this video, I wanted to share with you one of my really important jazz practice routines. And this was prompted by a question from one of our subscribers, Winston McMahon, who says, Paul, one other thing I wanted to ask about is if you could make a video on what your practice routine is. Well, I have lots of them, but I think one of the most important ones is understanding how a piano player fits in a jazz scenario. And really, the piano is a percussive instrument. It's really meant to support other musicians when they're performing, give them the backing chords and comping, but also keeping the rhythm going. And I think a lot of piano players lack that rhythmic finesse that is needed to be a really good piano player. So what I thought I'd do is share with you one of the exercises that I used to do. I don't really do it a lot anymore, but if I'm trying to warm up, I do it. And it's based on something called Hannon. Now, if you're familiar with classical music, Hannon is one of those exercise books that everybody went through. And there were basically patterns that you would play over and over again, mostly in the key of C, not a lot of black notes, just to kind of get your fingers working and warmed up. And some of them go like this. And the idea is to play them faster and faster. And the whole goal is, of course, to get that rhythm and those constant notes flowing underneath your fingers and making your fingers work properly. Now, if you wanted to build on top of something like that, I went and made an arrangement of Hannon using that idea, but made it into swing and put a left hand comping and put the right hand with it. So let me introduce you to that exercise. I am going to put a link to the sheet music up here in the corner. It's absolutely free to download, so please go and download that. But don't do it right now. Do it after the video's over and just kind of bookmark it. And let me show you the exercise first, because I think it's really important to do that. So if you take a look at the sheet music, I call it Swing Hannon Exercise 1. And the right hand essentially is just Hannon, except it's not just doing eighth notes, because eighth notes would be just like this. But it is that pattern. So it's like this. And so on and so forth. Now, what's really cool about this exercise is, like I said, it does do that right hand pattern just going up the key of C, right from the first note to the last note, and giving you that pattern. But in the left hand, what you're doing is you're comping, as a solo piano player would. So I have two exercises. This one is for the solo piano player. So you're playing the root on 1 in the left hand, and then on the end of 2, you're playing the chord. So now what I would suggest is maybe you just do that first bar over and over again. And you might want to just get it faster and faster as you continue through the tune. Now I've written the chord changes up above the bar. You can see C, then F, then D minor, then G. And those are the most likely chords that you would play over that right hand pattern. It's kind of like Sound of Music, you know. You know, that kind of thing. It's like picking the right chords to go with the melody. And so that's what I've done here. And I think it helps in a couple of different ways. Obviously, it's going to help you with your rhythm. It's also going to help you understanding what chords to play as a solo piano player. And it's also going to match the right hand and the left hand rhythms together and make a great exercise out of it. And you'll understand how chords come right out of the scale, because it's really just the scale. So if you're doing the scale, it's like, what are the chords for that? And how does that fit with the melody? So it's a great exercise to do. It takes you all the way to the top, where it's like the last 4 bars of the first section. And then what it does is it comes down. So a different pattern. Now, the chords are a little unconventional because the way it comes down, it doesn't really lend itself to like 2/5s and normal progressions, but I did try to pick the right chords for it. So it basically comes down the scale. And it goes all the way down to the last 4 bars. And then, of course, what you want to do is play that faster and faster. So the other thing I did for you, which I think is really cool, is not just solo piano, but I've given you a backing track. So I'm going to put a link, again, to the sheet music and the backing track up here in the corner. And all you have to do is go download that. And it comes with bass and drums. And then you're going to match the bass and drums with the new chords that I've put in the left hand. So these are rootless voicings. So this is going to help you immensely with your swing playing and those whole rhythms that come along with comping. It's a lot of fun to play. Eventually, you'll just memorize it. It's really not that hard to memorize. All you really have to do is memorize the left-hand chords that go with that right-hand melody. Because the right-hand melody is pretty consistent. It's just the same thing over and over again. You're just going up the scale and coming down the scale. And that's why it's a really good exercise, because it's going to help with dexterity and rhythm and all of the things that we've talked about in this video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the entire exercise for you, first solo piano, and then I'm going to put the backing track on and I'm going to play the entire exercise, which I call exercise, swing hand and exercise number 2 with bass and drums. I'm going to play that whole thing from beginning to end as well. It's going to take about 3 minutes to do the whole thing. Stick around and listen to it, and then immediately go and download the sheet music. I've also put a link below to it and the backing track that you can download. It's really good for you. You're going to appreciate it in your jazz practice routine. Thanks so much for the question, Winston. I really appreciate it. And in the next video, we're going to give you some more ideas for your practice routine, but I think this is one of the most important ones. So I'm going to finish off the video by playing these 2 exercises. And then if you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. We're over 1,000 subscribers now and growing quickly. So we could use a few more subscribers just like you. And of course, if you like the video, give it a super thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Have a great day. Let me play it for you now.